Hello everyone. Let us learn how I taught my grandmother to read. This lesson is written by Sudha Murthy ma'am. Let us have the look on Sudha Murthy ma'am as an author. Sudha Murthy is a renowned Indian author known for her simple yet powerful stories based on real life experiences. Sudha Murthy ma'am's stories are simple yet powerful, and her stories are based on real life experiences. This lesson, How I Taught My Grandmother to Read, is an autobiographical account. This is an autobiographical account as Sudha Murthy ma'am told in this lesson about her childhood. So we can call it is a autobiographical work. We'll have the chapter summary here. Let us discuss about the setting of the lesson at first. The narrator Sudha Murthy was about 12 years old and lived with her grandparents in a village in North Karnataka. Now, here Sudha Murthy ma'am told about her childhood. When she was about 12 years old, she lived with her grandparents in a village in North Karnataka. During her childhood, during those days, transportation facilities were poor. In her childhood, transportation facilities were poor. So, newspapers and magazines reached the village late. Once again, we'll discuss thoroughly. In Sudha ma'am's childhood, she lived in North Karnataka in a village with her grandparents. And during those days, transportation facilities were poor. So, newspapers and magazines reached the village late. And what was the result of it? Everyone eagerly waited. Everyone living in the village eagerly waited for the weekly magazine because it carried interesting stories. Everyone was eagerly waiting for weekly magazine. The reason behind it carried means magazine carried interesting stories. Now here one more reference is there of the author Triveni. Triveni was a famous Kannada writer. Triveni got famous for her writing style. And what was her writing style? Her writing was easy to understand, interesting and convincing, focused on ordinary people's lives, dealt with psychological and social issues. Even after many years, people still admire her novels. She had all these qualities in her writing, so she got famous in Kannada language. Now, here one more reference is there of one more literary work, and the literary work is novel, and the name of the novel is Kashi Yatre. Kashi Yatre was being published as a serial in a Kannada magazine called Karmavira. Here one magazine is introduced. Its name is Karmavira. The language of the Karmavira was Kannada. And here Kashi Yatre is one of the novels of Triveni, and it was published in a serial in Karmavira magazine. Now what the story is about Kashi Yatre? Let us have the look on it. Kashi Yatre is a novel, and in novel there are two strong characters. Let us have the look on it. The characters of Kashi Yatre we are discussing right now. So the two characters were, first character was an old woman and second character was a poor orphan girl. Now let us have the look on both of the characters very properly. An old woman was there in the novel, and what was the characteristics of her? She dreamed of visiting Kashi. Old woman has one dream, and her dream was visiting Kashi. At present it is known as Varanasi. And this old woman was saving the money for going to pilgrimage. Now, what is the characteristics of a poor girl? She needs money for her marriage. Now here two characters are there. Both are facing the differences. Old woman is there whose dream is to visit Kashi, and on another hand, a poor old girl is there who is orphan and she needs money for her marriage. When this old woman came to know about the condition of the poor orphan girl, what the old woman did, let us have the look on it. The old woman sacrifices her dream and give all her savings to the girl. Now, when old woman came to know about the difficulty of a poor orphan girl, at that time, old woman sacrifices her dream and gives all her savings to the poor girl. Reason, this old woman believed that helping someone is more important than going on a pilgrimage. Why this old woman gave all her saving to a poor orphan girl? As she believes helping someone is more important than going on a pilgrimage. What is the moral of the story? That is Kashi Yatre. Humanity and kindness. Humanity and kindness are greater than following rituals and having personal desires. So this story Sudha Murthy ma'am was introducing or reading for her grandmother every week. Now let us come to our own lesson once again, that is how I taught my grandmother to read. Here grandmother's interest, how it got developed. Now Sudha's grandmother, her name is Krishnakka, had never attended school. Now one more character is introduced, that is Sudha Murthy ma'am's grandmother. Her name is Krishnakka. And Krishnakka ma'am never attended the school. Now, what was the reason that she never attended the school? Because in those days, girls' education was not that much important. This is what we are talking about, her childhood, Krishnakka's childhood. Now, as she never attended school, how her life got affected? Grandmother could not read the book. She dependent on Sudha. Grandmother dependent on Sudha to read the story aloud. Every Wednesday, Sudha ma'am eagerly waited for the next episode as well as her grandmother. Now here, every Wednesday, grandmother eagerly waited for the next episode. She became emotionally attached. Grandmother became emotionally attached to the characters and the story. Now let us have the look on character sketch. Grandmother, her name is Krishnakka. She has qualities. Which qualities grandmother has? Grandmother was loving, curious, determined, emotional, respectful of education and hardworking. What evidences are there in the lesson that grandmother has all these qualities? Let us have the look on it. Grandmother listened attentively to every episode. Then she developed a strong desire to learn reading and worked hard despite her age. So these are the evidences which are showing that grandmother is loving, curious, determined, emotional, respectful of education and hardworking. We have one more character sketch in the story, that is Sudha Murthy. Sudha Murthy ma'am is helpful, patient, caring, intelligent and responsible. What are the evidences in the story? She reads the story regularly for her grandmother, encouraged her grandmother to learn how to read, and became the teacher of her own grandmother, who was very old. Now we have one more character, that is Triveni. Triveni is the author of Kannada language. She was talented, popular, sensitive and influential. What are the evidences to prove her qualities? Wrote meaningful stories. Triveni wrote meaningful stories, captured ordinary humans' emotions effectively. Now, captured ordinary human emotions effectively in her literary work. Let us have the theme of the lesson. Now, First theme of the lesson is importance of education. Education gives independence and confidence. It is depicted by the character of the grandmother. Now, lifelong learning. There is no age limit for learning. This is also depicted by the grandmother in the story. When she decided to learn how to read, she learnt it. Now, determination. This is the another theme of the lesson. Strong determination helps people achieve difficult goals. Now, here, once we determine for something, once we have the determination in our mind, then that determination helps people to achieve difficult goals. Now, another theme is family bonds. The relationship between Sudha and her grandmother is affectionate and inspiring. When we go through the story, how I taught my grandmother to read, we also got to know that the relationship between Sudha and her grandmother was affectionate one, and it was also inspiring. Next one, self-reliance. Reading empowers a person to become independent. Now here from the lesson we can learn self-reliance, that is reading empowers a person to become independent. Next part of the lesson we will see in the next video. Thank you and have a good day.